Okay, I'm going to do a bit of spraying today, so I thought I'd just talk you through what sprayers I use and why I would use them. Now the two sprayers I'm going to be talking to you about are just little handheld sprayers today. I have got bigger sprayers as well, but this is predominantly for woodwork and detail work. So I'll just taught you what I'm going to use and why I'm going to use it. So basically, if you don't know, there's two types of sprayer you can get. You can get one that's airless and that's driven by a pump. And then you can get another one which is air assisted, or it's like on an air turbine, and that's just powered by air pushing the paint out. So a typical sort of air one that you might have seen is going to be something like this. So you might have seen these advertised, just cheap ones just to do your fences. This is a bit more expensive, this one, but it's a lot more control with this. So you can get different nozzles for the end of it. So this nozzle, the brown one, is like a fine finish, and you can get a standard one which is a yellow, which you can sort of do a sort of bigger areas like walls and things with it, but you can actually get a wall finish thing as well. But generally I always use this brown one because it's quite good for the woodwork. Not bad for spindles, bits of furniture and things like that. And the reason I like these is that you can adjust the flow. I just feel like you've got a lot more control with these little ones. You can sort of dial in the amount of material you want to come out, or the width of the fan pattern through this way. And then on the back you've got air speed, so if you want a real whoosh of air coming through this to really power it out, you can turn it up or obviously turn it down. And the same on here, you've got a little dial that sort of basically stops this trigger from being pulled right back, and that just lets the material out as much as you do or don't want to come out. So they're good, but the only thing with these is because they're air assisted, there is a lot of air obviously being created by this turbine, and what that does, the air comes through the turbine, pushes it out, pushes the air through this little tube which goes into the cup with the materials on it, and then it pushes it back up and out and through this nozzle. So that's just being powered by air. So what can happen is you can get quite a bit of overspray with that, because obviously there's air pushing it out. So sometimes you don't want overspray. You might be in a situation where you really don't need overspray. And given that choice, you would then use something like this, which is just pump. That's just an electronic pump pumping through this. And these are really good as well. These are a bit more expensive than that. Actually, they're double the price of that one. They're a lot more detailed because you haven't got your overspray. You can sort of almost just dial it in really, really tightly. But with these, instead of these nozzles on the end, which you can adjust like that, you get tips, which go into the tip holder. Now with the tips, obviously they're different sizes for different materials. So for a typical sort of emulsion, you'd want to use something, a 515 tip. Now there's two numbers on these tips, and if you're not aware, the first number, which on this particular one is a 5, that'll give you the fan pattern, but it's double that. So it's going to be, so a 5 on the beginning of that number would equate to a 10-inch fan pattern coming down the wall, if you're holding it approximately 12 inches away from the wall. The second number is a 14, and I believe that is the size of the orifice in the tip. I think it's 14 thousandths of an inch. I think that's how it's worked. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that it's 14 thousandths of an inch. So obviously the bigger number at the end of the tip, the bigger the hole, the more material it's going to be letting out. So for something like woodwork, if you was doing spindles or skirtings, you don't want a 514. It's going to let too much material out and you're going to have too much of a fan pattern. So in that case, really go down to this size. Now we've got a 308 here. So again, the 3, you double that, so that's 6 inches. So you're going to get a 6-inch fan pattern, and the 08 is 8 thousandths of an inch, I believe, the material coming out. The smaller the number at the end, the less material it's going to let out. So if you're using something like a stain or you know, a smoother paint, an easy flowing paint, you're going to want it coming out of a smaller orifice. You don't want it coming out of a big one like the 514, because you're just going to flood the area with paint. So for more control, you need the smaller tip. This will put it on fast, and you could do a door in this in 20 seconds. You could paint a door with this, but it will leave enough material on it that you won't be able to go back to that door for quite a while, because it's got quite a lot of paint on it. Whereas this, you can dial it down, so you've got a small airflow, a small amount of material coming out, and you can just cover sort of a gentle sort of pattern with it, really. So you're not putting on a real heavy, so you can put it on and then go back again and back again. So both as good as each other, but both for different reasons, really. With these, you probably do need to water the material down a touch. You basically water it down and you'll stir it with a stick, whether it be emulsion, whether it be water-based gloss and things like that. Basically, you want to give it a little stir with a stick and just put enough water in it, so when you lift the stick out of the material, you're getting a constant stream from the end of your stick to the top of your material in the tub. So you don't want it blobbing, drip, 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 because it'll probably be too thick for this. Now with this one, where it's got a pump, and quite a powerful pump pushing it out, a lot of the material you don't need to water down with this one, because it will just chuck them out. I generally will water it down because it just helps it flow a bit better. So that's just a little showing you my setup. Now I'll try and show you a little bit of it in action. So as you can see, that's just had a quick prime. The edges are still coming through raw a little bit, but that's MDF for you. It's going to do that. But you can see the top is lovely and flat with that sprayer. It's lovely. It did block a little bit, so you just turn the tip round and you squirt any blockages out and then turn the tip back again and it should come on. But yeah, that's just the first prime anyway, so I'm going to give it another prime. But at the minute I'm just going to leave this room because I took my van in for service today and I've left my mask in it, so I'm spraying without a mask, which is never good. But you can see the way it puts it on. You've got a lovely build up there. Try and get the light bouncing off it a bit for you. Yeah, and that will just dry lovely and flat all along everywhere else out. So yeah, we'll let that dry a bit. I'll just quickly go and have a cup of tea, and then we'll come back and we'll prime it again, and then that can be left to dry, and then I shall jump into this little room and start putting some paint on in here. It's making this little toilet really dark. I'm not sure if I really feeling this. It's not my choice anyway. But yeah, just got a coat on that. And oh, I should sit down and have a cup of coffee with you. Oh. Now, I don't know if any of you lot buy any supplies from these online building suppliers that get in touch with you and set up these accounts, and they're generally good if you need a lot of stuff quick and at a decent price. They're good for that, but what the problem is that they do not stop ringing you. I mean, I've been with these certain online building suppliers for quite a while now, and I've had a few different reps that keep calling me, and every time I explain what I am, I say I work on my own. If I buy 200 beads off you, they're going to last me ages. But don't worry, I'll get in touch with you when I need some more. I won't use anyone else because you're good. So, okay. But they still ring me almost daily. And obviously I just ignore the call. So you'd think after about 5 or 6 of them, they would get the hint that, okay, we'll leave him alone. We'll ring people up that we do get a response from. But they don't. They just keep on ringing and ringing. And they don't leave a voice message, even if you just left a message. Hello mate, yeah, just seeing if you need anything, blah, blah, blah. But they don't. So they just keep ringing and ringing on the off chance that I'll pick the phone up and then they'll talk me into some deal that's too good to be true. And that's the only reason I don't pick the phone up, because they will talk me into a deal that's too good to be true. Because they'll say, well, 200 beads here, 20 dust sheets, tin snips, scrim, standing knife, 250 quid. You ain't got to pay us till September. And I'll go, September, yeah, brilliant, yeah, I'll have that. I'll have another load of beads because I've already got a load, and I've already got a load of scrim, and I've got dust sheets. But you say yes because you think, well, I can't miss that. I've got to have it. And September comes, and you've got to find 250 quid plus the VAT, and then by that time, you've forgotten that you've bought it. So anyway, just if any of you building suppliers are watching, I know you run businesses and you're very successful, obviously, you probably make a lot of money out of it. But if someone doesn't answer the phone 5 or 6 times in a row, they probably don't want to answer the phone, so just leave us alone. Thought I'd pop back over here home for a minute. There's the cleaners in over there, and just giving her a bit of space really. She's obviously not cleaning where I'm working, but just thought I'd let her have a bit of time. And I was listening to the radio earlier, and obviously there's a lot of Oasis stuff going on. Oasis are touring again, and just got my mind thinking back to when I went to see them, and I was lucky enough to go and see them at Nebworth in 1996, which I suppose for like our generation, my generation, I suppose it was a bit of a Woodstock day really. It was a really good day, lots of bands on. Obviously Oasis were on, Manic Street Preachers, Chemical Brothers, Ocean Colour Scene, Bootleg Beatles, which were just like seeing the Beatles. They're so good. I can't remember too much of the day because I was a younger man, and we went on the day, I think the Sunday it rained all day, and we went on the Saturday, and it was a dry day. I think it rained at night, in the evening. So basically it was a hot day, plenty of drink flowing, young man, I can't remember a lot of it, but what I do remember is me and a few mates went, and somehow through the mates we sort of buddied up with like a group of girls, and I got talking to one girl, short petite girl, which you know, it means something in the story that she was light and petite. So we were chatting and we were getting on well, and you know, I was young and geeky and goofy, and thought, yeah, this is great here. I'm doing really well. And anyway, as the day went on, we're chatting and we wasn't getting close, but it was obvious that we were with each other for that day. And she was only small, like I said, petite, and she couldn't really see much above the crowd. So me being the perfect gentleman said, do you want to get on my shoulders? Offering that ultimate in masculinity in that situation. I couldn't get her a sedan chair. I couldn't get her up on a crane. The next thing I could do was stick her on these beasts. Of course she said, yeah, why not? So, kneel down. She gets on my shoulder. So there I am, king of the castle, got this little dolly bird on my shoulder. She's happy. She can see what she wants to see. I'm happy because I've got a pair of legs around my neck. And of course, all the time the sun's shining and I'm having a drink, and we're dancing away and chatting from above and enjoying the whole atmosphere. What a great day. What can go wrong here? What could possibly go wrong? I'm on a winner, surely. Well, after a while standing there with this weight on my shoulders, although she was light, she still weighed something, you know, as anyone will know. You can have a bag of plaster on your shoulder for 2 or 3 minutes in the queue at Wickes, and after a few minutes, it starts getting heavy and heavy and heavy. So basically, I've probably got 2 bags of plasters on my shoulder. So I was aware that this is getting heavy, but you know, I don't know how much longer I can sort of hold this on for. But I can't tell her that. I can't let her know that, oh, she's too heavy, I've got to get you down now. She's having a great time up there, and she's not concerned whether I'm all right or not. I'm just the ultimate hero to her. And anyway, it goes on and goes on, and I'm starting to feel a little bit woozy now. I've had a drink, the sun's shining, and I could feel myself starting to get weak, starting to pass out a bit. And then before I knew it, I should have done the sensible thing and said to her, look, love, you're going to have to get down. I need a wee. I should have made an excuse. I didn't. I just stood there until I felt myself going all weak. And with that, I've just gone completely backwards. I've basically passed out, I think. Now, bearing in mind, she's on top of me, so I've gone down with a hell of a force. And what happened was the crowd that was behind us didn't try and save this poor girl. They all got out of the way. And as we went down, there happened to be a big tree stump on the floor behind her, which her head went bang right on the back of that tree stump, and it really hurt her head. By this time, I'd sort of got myself together, got up off the floor. So what happened there? And I just remember looking at her, really holding her head in pain. I said my sorries, and I don't know what happened, I just passed out. And that was the last I saw of her for that day. Forever, actually. Never saw her again since. So it was a good day, but it could have been better. So yeah, just if any of you ever in them situations, I know we want to be the man, but you can't always just be the man. Just admit defeat and get out of it. And then to top it off, on the way home from Nebworth, we all had to get back to Stevenage train station. And there was a huge queue for the last train, absolutely huge queue, all coming down off the footbridge, down the stairs and out of the station. And I used to do a bit of railway work at the time. I used to do railway maintenance for a company on platforms and things like that. And I knew where there was a hole in the fence at Stevenage station because it was one of the lines that we used to do. So I said to my mate, don't worry, follow me. So took him to this little bit and we got under through the fence. And then we got on the train and we only wanted to go from Stevenage to, I think it was Potter's Bar we wanted to get off, only a few stops, and then we could get a cab down to where we lived then, just 10 minutes down the road from Potter's Bar station. But what we didn't know, that we'd got on the fast train all the way to King's Cross. Now my mate was really drunk at the time and I felt I was looking after him. He was gone, he was out of it. So I'm on the train and I'm thinking this train should be slowing in a minute for Potter's Bar, and it didn't. It just went all the way through to King's Cross, where we was obviously on the last train, so we couldn't get another train back out again. So there I am at King's Cross and it's pissing down by now, and we're outside the station. I've got my mate with me who's so drunk, I've got to sort of prop him up like a dummy, you know, and get him here, get him there. So then we ended up ringing a cab back in a local area where we lived, because we sort of knew the cab drivers a bit then, because we was always out and about. And he had to come all the way from there, like a 45-minute drive, probably an hour's drive, pick us up and get us home again. Cost a fortune. My mate was just, you know, totally my responsibility all the way. And we got home a lot later than we would have been had we just got a cab from Stevenage at the time, really. Soaking wet. What an end to the day. The day itself was brilliant. Oasis were fantastic. All the bands were fantastic, actually. But I think, to be honest, it was Oasis at their best when we saw them, because we did see them a few years later again at Wembley. And it wasn't the same, it just didn't have it. But that Nebworth, if any of you were there, it was just fantastic. The weather was right, the sun was going down. They had the violins on stage when they were doing songs, you know, like Whatever, you know, that song with the violin intro. It was just perfect, really good. So yeah, a really memorable day for the right reasons and the wrong reasons. But I wouldn't see him again now. I think that memory can't be beaten. So anyway, I just thought I'd share that with you while I'm waiting for me my lunch to do its thing. It's all looking a bit blue. It's highlighting some imperfections in whoever plastered this. Let me turn you around. I know it's easily done. I'm not saying I'm the best plasterer, but it is highlighting a lot of stuff. So I'm gonna have to fill that. Trouble is with filling stuff is that when you go over it again, it does like the green through. Look, now I've painted this a couple of times. I haven't filled this, someone else has filled this previous to me coming here. But look, the filler just keeps grinning through. It's had two really good rolls on that. And I'm worried about that starting to appear in here, down there. But I can't leave it like that. It just doesn't feel right. So I will fill it and then maybe put something else on it before the paint, maybe some sort of primer, maybe some guards or something like that. But anyway, I ordered the panelling for this wall yesterday and it's just turned up from good old Amazon. So I've cut the packet open, but I haven't looked in it yet. So I thought I'd give you that pleasure with me. I don't know what to expect. Just bare MDF, I suppose. Oh. Let's put you down, hold on. Let's put you down over it. Wow, look. Even give you a tube of that with it. So let's see what we got. Oh, okay. Right, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've got 8 metre lengths of, looks like a 9mm MDF. I've got 8 of them, and I've got 8 500s. So potentially we're gonna have, let's take you back, we're gonna have that sort of thing going on. So well, that's all right, I can get on with that, because the top and bottoms and the sides are going to be exactly where they need to be, and then I'll fill in the middles after, so I can get on with that. So it really is as simple as that. I mean, that's a stroke of luck that is exactly 2 meters long, that bench. And they come in meter strips, so that's simple. I think that's 1.2, so I'm going to need to do a little cut, which I'll send into the corner. Yeah, so let's start sticking these. Shouldn't be too hard. You know, I'm so glad I decided to order this off Amazon. I was going to get a full sheet of 8 before and cut it down myself, but what is the point, really? You pick this up so cheap. I think this was about 40 quid. Now this is the most important bit, is when you're butting the 2 joints together. You don't want one prouder than the other at all, really. So let it find its natural balance, really. So that's the first bit on. It's took me all of 5 minutes. Now I've just got to work out some equal distances for these, and I'm not sure what to do in the corner there. I don't know if I have to cut a full one down the middle so it looks like it's returning equally, and then work from that. We'll see, let's have a workout. I've set them out like that. I've put, obviously I know that's, these 2 are a metre, so that's half. So I've put one halfway on that line. Just move that across a bit. So yeah, my join is there, so I know that that is going directly half. So from that, I've just halved that measurement again, put that one on the half. Done the same now, and done the same there. I think that's the look I was after, and then just literally stick the other one on top then. It's really as simple as that. I've never done this paneling before, and in my head I booked it in, I priced it for a day, day's work to do the paneling, because I really wasn't sure what it was going to entail, and I wasn't aware that you could buy these kits until someone told me. I thought it was all going to be a sheet of 9mm MDF, set it up with the track saw and cut them all down to size, but 40 quid off Amazon, and that's that done. That's it, we're all on. The ones down that end are slightly wider, just to give it equal. You can't really notice it. It's just slightly wider. So yeah, I'm just gonna let all that dry now. It was so simple, really, too simple. Makes me feel like I've done something wrong when it goes that well. So I've done a load of filling in the bathroom. Whoever plastered it, the corners weren't great. So I've just run up and down it with a bit of the Two Prey Ready Mix filler. and we'll give them a rub down and a bit of a prime tomorrow and see how it goes. But yeah, quite happy with that today. All tidied up now, all good. Filled in all the little joints in the panelling there. So we'll give them a rub down tomorrow and give all that a prime up, and that should start taking a bit of shape there then. And hopefully this should be dry enough tomorrow as well. I can get this all painted in as well. So it's Wednesday today, Thursday tomorrow. All going good. Right, that's it for me. I will speak to you all tomorrow.